All right, now we're ready for WP3. WP3 builds off of WP1 and 2. What you'll be doing for this class is looking at a peer's first and second writing projects and comparing them to your own to see what similarities and differences your two fields have. I will be assigning you somebody else to work with. Most of you will have a single other person to work with, but if the numbers don't work out great, there might be one group of three. If you are a group of three, I will take that into consideration for your grading. Like with WP1 and WP2, all drafts must be a minimum of 1,500 words. And you are required to use at least one mode other than text, an image, an audio clip, video, something other than just written text in here. Of course, you are also still welcome to do a different version of the project. If you want to make a video, animation, podcast, webpage, infographic, or whatever, you are more than welcome to do so. Please make sure to read through the objectives on your own. The due dates are November 10th for the completion draft and November 19th for the final draft. Submission will be much like with WP1 and WP2, submitting in Google Drive in your shared folder with me. The basics for this one are pretty short. Basically, begin by reading WP1 and WP2 from each member of your comparison group, specifically looking for similarities and differences between the fields. Make sure you discuss these differences with the other members so you get a good sense of what is going on in the field and that you're understanding it correctly. When differences come up, you might be able to discuss them and figure out why they're differences, for example. That'll give you a lot more stuff to talk about in your actual writing project. Now, your project should focus on comparing and contrasting the fields. You're trying to look for specific examples and direct quotes and other evidence from WP2 or WP1 and WP2 from both your project and your peer's project for comparison. At the end, you can try to explore why these approaches might be similar or different. Try to consider the purposes of the writing in the field and how those purposes lead to the different types of writing that might show up in the field. Most of the grading criteria should be kind of familiar. These grading criteria are mostly drawn from WP1 and WP2, but slightly modified. So it's not just understanding the field, but also understanding the other person's field. It's not just understanding your own field, but also comparing those fields and so forth. So you'll need to compare, you'll need to explain, you'll need to offer contrast, and you'll need to explain the contrast. Those are the main things. Would you like you to use specific examples from both your own projects and your peers' projects, and then explain them clearly. The final grading criteria are ones that have been on WP1 and WP2 already: organization, multimodal elements, manuscript preparation, and attention to assignment. Like with WP1 and WP2, you are required to ask a question about WP3. You can ask about anything you want, anything from the assignment sheet, anything that you're just curious about, stuff that is worrying you, stuff that you want to know more information about. Like usual, please ask that question in the questions forum.